Apagando las luces.
Hi guys, this is Kickbykick back again with another video. This is the first video of the Unreal Engine documentation journey series, as I explained in my previous video. So in this video, we'll just get started with Unreal Engine, and we'll see what we can get done, what you guys can learn from me, and just show you guys how much I've learned for now. Okay, so let's just get started. So I have the Unreal Engine launcher downloaded already. The Epic Games launcher and everything. But I can just go through a brief note and how it's done. We'll just get started here. I'll go to the documentation and I'll start explaining things. But before that, I just want to cover the basic installation process. I'm not going to be showing you guys how to do this. I guess I could just be showing the pictures, but I believe everyone knows how to do this already. So basically what you want to do is just go to the Unreal Engine website. Maybe you click on there's this download button over here, so you click on that. Then after you download that, you'll be asked to log in, or you can just sign up. By the way, it's totally free to get on Unreal Engine, so you don't have to pay anything for this. And you accept everything, then you download it, then you start running the program. Next thing is you want to install it, and then you will ask to sign in again. Then yeah, you should get the Epic Games launcher, and you should have this right here. So you open this up and you have Unreal Engine, and then you when we get started, you can just click on launch Unreal Engine just to get started with everything. And yeah, that's the basics for getting Unreal Engine, I believe. Oh yeah, you'll also be told to install the engine because there are several versions of Unreal Engine, and you don't want to get the wrong one. So just install the latest one. That really doesn't matter for now. Yeah. So for this one, there's several Unreal Engine source codes. We're gonna skip this for now. We're also gonna skip this. I plan to talk about this one later because this is really not important right now. So we can get started. We can go back up here and check this out. Okay, so getting started with Unreal Engine 4. So the first thing we have here is just some basic terms that for you guys to know while dealing with Unreal Engine. The first thing is a project is just a self-contained unit that holds like content and code. So what that basically says, just give me one moment, I'm going to explain that to you. So let me close that tab. Okay, so a project is basically just like a container that holds several codes and it holds several content. The contents could go from like a character, from it could be anything basically. So this is what a project is, like this old Unreal Engine game I have over here. This is what you call a project. So this is basically a project. It has the levels to it, it has the maps, it has the C++ code, it has everything. So that's basically what a project means. So the project is related to the file. Like if you look at this, you have to say it's content, starter content. So this has a starter content. This is everything, your architecture, your audio, your blueprint is the same thing. Everything is the same, just with several names, and you have visuals in the Unreal Engine editor. But yeah, that's basically what a project is. The next thing to talk about is what .u project means. What does this mean? That basically just means the file extension name for Unreal Engine projects. So this is an Unreal Engine project. After you build and you save your Unreal Engine projects, you should get this kind of file there. So if you take a look, this is saying .u project. To open this project, all I had to do was just double click on this, and it's just gonna open the project for me. I already have it open, so it's just gonna open it twice here. Okay. The next thing is talking about levels. So what are levels? This is so what are levels? Levels are basically just like 3D environments. Levels are basically the maps that you have in your games. So let's say a game like Overwatch for now. King's Row is a level. King's Row is a map. A level is basically a map. There's nothing else to talk about there. In Unreal Engine, whatever you put in the level is called an actor. So everything you put in an engine, just give me one moment here, is called an actor. An actor is basically anything you can drop into your level. It could be a light, it could be a mesh. For those that don't know what a mesh is basically a 3D object. That's all you need to know. A mesh is basically a 3D object. So whatever you can drop into the level, into the map, let's say a light, a mesh, a character, is basically called an actor. The actor class in Unreal Engine is basically like the king of all classes, because everything you drop into the level is called an actor. So this table is an actor, the chair is an actor, this big chair is an actor, even this light is an actor. So everything here are actors. That's what you should know. Anything you can drop into your level, we have a very big level here, is an actor. So just to let you know about that. Okay, so the next thing let's talk about is a viewport. So a viewport is basically the way we look at the project, the game, whatever you want to call it. In Unreal Engine, there's several types of viewport. You can look at the game from the top. Let me see if I can find where this game is. Okay, so if you remember, this is the chair, this is the table, this is the big chair, the lights is, yeah, these are the lights. No, I just have one light here. Yeah, so the viewport is basically the way we look at the game. So you can look at the game from with a perspective view. This is what you mostly will use, but you can also use like the top. Let's say you want to align the chair properly in the middle, use like the top. We got back, we got several stuff. Okay, that's it on viewports. And the editor modes, the modes just contain a selection of various tools in the editor. So I'm gonna go to the modes here. This is the modes tab. You can drag it wherever you want. This is the modes tab. I'm gonna expand this real quick. So in the modes tab, you can see we have a lot of things. We have font light, we have lights. I'm gonna explain lights later. We have geometry. We can drop triangles, whatever we want. And also there are just several modes. There's a paint mode, there's a landscape mode, and there's a foliage mode, and there's a geometry editing mode. So there's several things that you can do. If you're getting overwhelmed already, don't worry about it. This is just basic stuff. I'm not explaining I'm trying not to get too far in the explanation, because we just started this tutorials. So the next thing is the content browser. The content browser is basically the primary area in Unreal Engine editor. This is the content browser. The content browser is basically where everything is, where your audio is, where everything is. That's all you need to know about the content browser. Okay, so the next thing is lighting. Okay, in Unreal Engine editor, we need light just to light up the scene and make sure we can see what we're doing. And you can increase the intensity of the light, like doing this. All you need to do is just find where the light is in this place and click on it. I don't even bother. You probably don't even have a project created yet. I'm just explaining what the documentation says. So the documentation is talking about different kinds of lights. You can also change the light's color. You can change it to whatever you want. Don't let's get into that yet. Also, what the types of lights we have. So we have directional light. This is a light that just points into one direction. We have points light. That's the kind of light I have over here. It just glows in like around the circle, like it just glows in every single direction. We have a spotlight. A spotlight is basically like a stage light. Basically, that's what a spotlight is. This is what a spotlight looks like. This is exactly what a spotlight looks like. Next thing is a skylight. Just assume it's like the sun or something like that. Okay, so those are the kind of lights that we have. We're gonna go deep into lighting some other time. So the next thing is materials and shading. I don't want to go too deep here, but basically what materials are basically textures for your geometry, or textures for anything you have in Unreal Engine. So basically, let's say I put this cube over here. This cube doesn't have any material. So when you look at it in Unreal Engine, when you see something that has like the black and white squares like this over here, okay, I think it looks like it gave it a material automatically. But let's see if we can just, yeah, so we just remove the material from the cube. Look at that. it literally has no material. So if we want to add a material to it, this is just adding like a cloth. You just add anything to it. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so apparently that just made it look, I don't think it's saying the right thing. What's wrong with this? Okay, so as you can see, I just added the material to this cube and it just became like a rock. So materials are basically like clothes that you add to several things in Unreal Engine. So the next thing is blueprint visual scripting. There's not much about that. And blueprints are basically like it's basically like drag and drop programming. Just that's what you should think about. That's how you can think of blueprints. Let me see if I have an example for you here. Okay, looks like I have this over here. So blueprint is basically like drag and drop programming. Also in Unreal Engine, you can also use C++, and that's what this programming tab is talking about. But blueprint is basically just drag and drop programming, like where you can see all those lines going into one line and going into another. That's basically what blueprints are. Let me see if I can open one for you over here. Okay, so I have this blueprint class over here. So as you can see, point light, you can like change things up. Don't worry too much about this. This is just the beginning of the tutorials series. You really don't have to worry about this. This is nothing. We haven't even got into explaining the documentation yet. So that's just basic knowledge of Unreal Engine. These are just the basic terms, nothing else. So the next thing we're going to be going to is the kind of editors that we have. So in Unreal Engine we have several types of editors. The first one is the level editor. So this is the level editor. This is just the basic editor that opens when you open the game. The next one is the material editor. Let me see if I can find the material for you over here. So if I open this material right now, this is the material editor. You can see the material, you can change the color of the material, you can do several things to the material, but I'm not going to do that right now. That's for another time. Just basically telling you what a material editor looks like. The blueprint editor, I showed that already. Okay, so behavior tree editors, I don't have one that I can show you right now, but what it basically does is it helps you create AIs. That's all you need to know for now. Don't worry about anything here. Persona editor, and it's basically for animation. You use it to edit your characters and everything. Let me see if I can find my character here. I don't think I have a third. I probably do. I think probably have a third person character here. I don't know where it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to open another project for that. Okay, I'll just open this. Yeah, this is what a Persona editor looks like. Okay, so the next one is the cascade editor. We basically use this for like particle animation and things like that. Just think of it like a particle effects editor. That's basically what you need to think of it right now. So we have the UMG UI editor. This is basically just for creating UIs in the game. Like look at this. This is like creating a simple UI that says game over. The Martini editor. Don't even bother about all of this right now. It's basically just for animation too. So the sound cue editor, this is the way you change sound, where you can increase the pitch of the sound. You can do several things. Like there's a lot of stuff in Unreal Engine that we don't even need to bother about right now. So paper 2D animation edit, paper 2D, where's it? I can't find it anymore. Paper 2D Sprite Editor. Yeah, this is just for 2D creation. 2D. This is to animate 2D characters. Physical asset, this is kind of to animate too. You can use that for animation. Just like changing the physical, the physics of a character and things like that. Static mesh editor. This is basically like just editing. Let's say you want to edit this chair right now. You want to change the color of the chair. You want to change several things that the chair has. this is where you would do that. The media player editor, this basically just allows you to define media files or like URLs to use as social media to play back inside Unreal Engine. Don't worry about all this right now. I'll keep on explaining as we go through the tutorials. Okay, so the Unreal Engine terminologies, we touched on what a project means already. So objects, these are the basic building blocks of Unreal Engine. So there's a class called UObjects in the Unreal Engine C++ code that we're going to touch on later, but that's what you need to know for now. The objects are basically just like where you can place into like the levels, the maps. You can save them, you can load them. The UObject classes are really important. I need to explain that before we go deep into objects. So classes, it's basically what you're thinking of if you've programmed before, like C++ classes and things like that. Also, you can use classes in blueprints. We also have blueprints classes, things like that. Actors, I explained actors before. Actors are basically anything you can put in the level. Could be a light, could be a mesh, could be a character, anything. Components is a piece of functionality that can be added to an actor. So what components are, just let me see if I can open a project for you. Okay, so I have my editor open right now, and I'll just show you what components are. Components are basically just things like you can add to, let's say, 3D objects or several things like that. One component I have on this doors right here is on the mask. So you can change, I can change the mask of the doors and make them different. I can do several things like that, but I'm not going to do that right now. Just know that components are just things that you can add to several things in the Unreal Engine. So next thing is pawns. So pawns are like actors. If you remember when I said anything that can be placed into the Unreal Engine level are basically actors. So pawns are one of them. So you can make a pawn be controlled by a character, or also make a pawn be controlled by a person. So when a pawn is controlled by a person, like a human person, like say like a real controller, it's called possessed. When a pawn is not controlled by the AI, or let's say not controlled by the human character, it's called unpossessed. So the next thing are characters. Characters as easy as it sounds, characters are just basically characters. So characters is basically a subclass of a pawn actor, and it's intended to be used by a player, so not meant to be used by an AI. So the player controller class is just used to take the player inputs. So let's say you're playing like a game right now, so you use WASD to control the where the player is gonna move to. That's the exact same thing that we use the player controller class for in Unreal Engine. The AI controller, it's just like the player controller class, but remember when we're talking about behavior tree editor, this is basically where we put the AI controller, and we just basically just controls the AI. So a brush is an actor that describes the 3D volume that is placed in a level in order to define level geometry or game volumes. Just the simple explanation of that is that you can use like a brush to edit. Let's say you have a cube, you can use your brush to edit it, and you can like put the collision in it. I put a block in volume, which is basically collision. Not so much, it's not going to say much about that. A level is basically just the area of gameplay, just like the map. That's basically what a level means. A world. So the next thing I want to talk about is a world. The world can contain several levels. I don't want to get too deep into a world right now because there's no point talking about it. Just think about a world as something that can contain more than one level. It's just like a bigger type of level. I'm going to talk more about that later. The game mode class. So the game mode class is basically just telling you let's say for now we have like a game that has team deathmatch, and also a game that says push the payload, a game mode that says push the payload. That's basically what that means. The game mode class basically sets the rules of the game that's being played. So let's say I have a class called under the game mode class called Team Deathmatch. That means we're playing Team Deathmatch, something like that. So the game state basically contains the information about the game at the moment. So let's say you were playing like a game like Call of Duty, and you have your team has 10 more kills than the enemy team. So the game state at the moment, the information of the game at that moment is saying your team has 10 more kills than the enemy team. Don't even think too much about it. It's not a big deal at this moment. So the player state is also just talking about the information of the player. Yeah, so let's say your character has like 75 HP left or 100 HP. That's basically what the player state means. Okay, so we're done with the basic Unreal Engine terminologies. We've done the editor too. Just gonna move to the quick stats. Okay,